I used to believe that trust was the foundation of any marriage. That no matter what, if two people truly loved each other, honesty would always prevail. But life has a way of proving even the most steadfast beliefs wrong. It all started on a chilly Thursday morning. My husband, Ethan, was rushing around the house, packing his suitcase in a hurry. He had told me earlier that week that he had an important business trip, a client meeting in Chicago that couldn't be postponed. I didn't think much of it. Ethan worked as a financial consultant, and last-minute trips were nothing new. "I'm sorry I have to leave on such short notice," he said, kissing me on the forehead as he buttoned his crisp navy blazer. "I'll only be gone for 4 days. Back before you even have a chance to miss me." I smiled, playfully rolling my eyes. Sure. Just don't forget to bring me back something nice." "I always do," he chuckled before grabbing his suitcase and heading out the door. And that was it. Just another business trip, or so I thought. The first red flag appeared that evening. I was scrolling through Instagram when I noticed something odd. My sister Ava had posted a story. It was a picture of her at a luxurious beachside resort, a cocktail in her hand, the ocean stretching endlessly behind her. The caption read, "Nothing like a family getaway." That was strange. Ava and I were close, but she hadn't mentioned anything about a vacation. Curious, I clicked on the location tag, Maui, Hawaii. I felt an odd twinge in my stomach. Maybe she had planned a last-minute trip. No big deal, right? But then, as I tapped through her story, I saw something that made my blood run cold. It was another photo, this time of my parents. They were sitting at a restaurant, laughing over a meal, and right there, beside them, was Ethan. My Ethan. The same Ethan who had told me he was in Chicago on business. The same Ethan who had kissed me goodbye just hours ago. I sat frozen, my heart pounding against my ribs. My mind raced, trying to make sense of what I had just seen. Maybe it was an old picture? Maybe Ava had posted it by mistake? But deep down, I already knew the truth. I spent the rest of the night in a daze, debating what to do. Should I call him, confront him right away, or should I wait and see how long he kept up the lie? The next morning, I decided to test him. I called Ethan, forcing my voice to sound as casual as possible. "Hey babe," I said, gripping my phone tightly. "How's Chicago?" There was a slight pause on the other end before he answered. "It's fine," he said. "Meetings have been dragging, though. You wouldn't believe how cold it is here." Cold. I clenched my jaw. "Yeah? What's the temperature like?" Maybe in the 30s? He guessed. "It's been snowing a little too." Snowing? In Maui? I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. "That sounds rough," I said. "I hope you're staying warm." "Yeah, I am," he replied, oblivious to the fury bubbling beneath my calm tone. "Listen, I have to go. I'll call you later, okay?" I let him hang up, and then I laughed. Because at that moment, I knew. I knew that my husband was lying to my face, and I was going to find out why. After hanging up the phone, I sat in silence, staring at the screen. My hands trembled as I reopened Ava's Instagram story. I zoomed in on the background of the picture, searching for any other clues, and that's when I noticed it. A reflection in the glass behind them. A figure walking past, wearing a familiar blue Hawaiian shirt, one I had seen Ethan wear last summer when we went to a beachside restaurant in Florida. My husband wasn't just lying about his whereabouts. He was lying about everything, and my family was in on it. I felt a sharp, sinking pain in my chest. Why? Why would they all go on vacation together and leave me behind? Worse, why would Ethan feel the need to lie about it? I needed answers. I wasn't going to sit at home, waiting for Ethan to come back with another fabricated excuse. If he thought he could play me for a fool, he was sorely mistaken. That afternoon, I booked the next available flight to Maui. It wasn't cheap, but at that moment, I didn't care. I packed a small bag, grabbed my passport, and headed straight to the airport. During the flight, my mind ran in circles. Was he cheating on me with my sister? Was my family covering for him? Or was something even worse going on? By the time we landed, I was equal parts exhausted and furious. But I didn't let my emotions cloud my focus. I pulled up Ava's Instagram again and scanned the background for clues about their location. A familiar hotel logo appeared in the corner of one of her videos. The Grand Maui Resort. I hailed a cab, gave the driver the hotel name, and sat back, gripping my phone tightly. This was it. The resort was breathtaking. Pristine beaches, swaying palm trees, and an air of luxury that made my stomach churn with resentment. I should have been here. I should have been invited. I walked up to the front desk and put on my sweetest smile. "Hi, I'm looking for my husband, Ethan Carter. He checked in a couple of days ago." The receptionist clicked away on her keyboard before nodding. "Yes, Mr. Carter is staying in one of our ocean view suites. Would you like me to ring his room?" "No, thank you," I said quickly. "I'd rather surprise him." I walked toward the elevators, my heart hammering as I pressed the button for the 5th floor. When I reached his door, I took a deep breath, steadied myself, and knocked. There was a pause, then footsteps, and then the door opened. Ethan stood there wearing a loose linen shirt and khaki shorts, a drink in his hand. His tanned face went pale the second he saw me. "Surprise," I said, forcing a smile. He blinked rapidly, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. What are you doing here?" "That's my question, isn't it?" I stepped forward, pushing past him into the suite. "I thought you were in Chicago, Ethan. Why don't you tell me why you're here in Maui instead? And while you're at it, explain why my entire family is here with you." I watched as his face twisted in panic. And then, a voice rang out from the living room. "Who is it, babe?" My stomach dropped. I turned my head just in time to see Ava walking toward us, wrapped in a fluffy white hotel robe, her damp hair suggesting she had just come out of the shower. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, the truth crashed down on me like a tidal wave. I stared at my sister, then at my husband. My vision blurred with rage, but my voice came out eerily calm. "Are you sleeping with my sister, Ethan?" He opened his mouth, but no words came out. His silence told me everything. Ava took a step forward, a fake look of remorse on her face. "Listen, I can explain." "Don't," I snapped. "Don't insult me by pretending this isn't exactly what it looks like." I turned back to Ethan. "How long?" Ethan swallowed hard. "A year." I sucked in a sharp breath. A year? Ava and Ethan had been sneaking around behind my back for an entire year. And not only that, they had gone on vacation together with my parents while feeding me lies about a business trip. I clenched my fists. And Mom and Dad? They knew? Ava hesitated, then nodded. "They thought it would be better if you found out this way. We didn't want to hurt you, but Ethan and I love each other." The sheer audacity. I laughed, a dry, humorless laugh. "You didn't want to hurt me? You planned a secret vacation, lied to my face, and let me believe my marriage was intact, but you didn't want to hurt me?" Ethan stepped forward. "Look, Don't," I interrupted, my voice shaking. "You don't get to justify this." I turned on my heel and walked toward the door, my chest tightening with every step. But before I left, I paused. I turned back to Ava, locking eyes with the sister I had once trusted more than anyone. "You can have him," I said coldly. "I hope he cheats on you too." And then, I walked out. I walked out of that hotel room with my heart pounding so loudly in my chest that I could barely hear the crashing waves outside. The hallway felt endless, my legs heavy as I forced myself forward. I had just lost everything: my husband, my sister, my family, and yet I refused to cry. Not here. Not where they could see me break. I made it to the lobby, my breath shallow as I approached the concierge desk. "Ma'am, is everything all right?" the receptionist asked, probably noticing my shaking hands. I forced a smile. "Could you call me a cab?" She nodded, and within minutes, I was sliding into the back seat of a car, giving the driver the name of a nearby hotel. I refused to stay anywhere near them. As we drove down the scenic coastal road, my mind raced. How long had they planned this? Did my parents really think I'd just accept it? More than anything, I wanted answers. But even more than that, I wanted revenge. I checked into a quiet boutique hotel, locking myself in my room and collapsing onto the bed. My whole body felt drained, like someone had sucked the life out of me. And then, my phone buzzed. I sat up, my pulse quickening when I saw my mother's name on the screen. Mom, the woman who had raised me, who was supposed to protect me. The same woman who had stood by while my own sister stole my husband. I took a deep breath and answered. Hello? There was a long pause. Then her voice, hesitant, unsure. Sweetheart, I was hoping we could talk. I let out a bitter laugh. Oh, now you want to talk? Did Ava and Ethan send you to smooth things over? Honey, please, she sighed. This isn't what you think. I cut her off. Oh, really? Because it looks a lot like my family betrayed me and then flew to paradise to celebrate. She hesitated. We didn't know how to tell you. How about not sneaking around and lying to me? My voice rose, my anger spilling out in sharp edges. You should have told me. You owed me that much. Mom sighed. It's complicated, sweetheart. You and Ethan were having problems. I nearly dropped my phone. Excuse me? He told us things weren't working between you two, she continued, her voice softer now. That you were distant. That he felt alone in the marriage. And then, he and Ava just happened. We didn't plan for this, I gritted my teeth. He painted me as the problem. Do you even hear yourself? I said through clenched teeth. You're justifying what they did. Silence. Then finally she whispered, I just want us to be a family again. A lump formed in my throat, but I swallowed it down. No, I said. A family doesn't do this. You made your choice when you stood by and let this happen. Now you can live with it. And then I hung up. I stared at my phone, my hands trembling, before finally tossing it onto the bed. My breath came in quick, uneven bursts. They had rewritten our history, twisted it to fit their narrative. I refused to let them get away with it. I wasn't the type to let things slide, and I definitely wasn't going to let them win. Ethan thought he could lie his way out of this, that he could betray me and still come out of this clean. Not a chance. I picked up my phone, my heart pounding as I opened my laptop and logged into our joint bank account. Ethan had always been careless with his passwords, trusting that I wouldn't ever betray him. Big mistake. I scanned our accounts, and there it was, his personal savings. Over $35,000 sitting in an account I had full access to. I exhaled slowly. He owed me, not just for the betrayal, but for everything. The years I spent supporting him, the sacrifices I made while he built his career. Without hesitation, I transferred every last cent into my own account. Next, I went to our credit cards. I booked myself an extended stay at the most luxurious resort in Maui, complete with spa treatments, private excursions, and a penthouse suite, all on his dime. And then, for the final blow, I called his company. Hi, I said sweetly. I was wondering if you could confirm Ethan Carter's business trip itinerary. He told me he was in Chicago, but I have reason to believe he might have lied. The HR rep hesitated. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but we can't disclose employee travel information. I let out a soft, sad sigh. I understand. I just found out he was cheating on me, and if he used company money for a fake business trip, I thought you should know. A long pause. Then a quiet, can you hold for a moment? I smirked. By the time I was lounging by the infinity pool with a cocktail in hand, the storm had already begun. Ethan called me 17 times before finally leaving a voicemail, his voice frantic. What the hell did you do, Olivia? My company put me on suspension because of you. And my money? Where is it? Call me back right now. I smiled, taking a sip of my drink. Then, Ava texted. Ava, I don't know what you did, but Ethan is freaking out. Can we please talk? I ignored her. Instead, I took a picture of my view, the endless blue ocean, the crystal clear sky, the extravagant resort I was now staying at, and posted it to my Instagram. Nothing like a solo getaway. Cheers to new beginnings. I leaned back on my lounge chair, feeling the warmth of the sun against my skin. They thought they could betray me and get away with it. They thought wrong.